Okay, welcome, for real. Welcome everyone. Thank you for coming to our first MFA program on Zoom, or a program event on Zoom, or it might not be the first. I wasn't here last spring when all of this fell upon us very suddenly. We are here again, apart but together. It's great to see all your faces. Thank you for taking the time out of your last night of your summer break to launch the fall semester with our annual fall faculty reading. It's very odd to have a fall event on during a heat wave, but then again, falls are just odd in general in the Bay Area, as you know, or if you've just moved here, as you'll soon find out. It's not quite a hayride and harvest pumpkin picking season. Our next reader has been teaching in the MFA program for -1 days. He starts tomorrow. But he is a dear and beloved member of the MFA community as he graduated from this very program in 2017. Alan was the program's Ferlinghetti Fellow that year, and we're very proud of his accomplishments and successes since then. He's the author of 2 books of poetry, This Is Not a Frank Ocean cover album, which came out last year with Black Lawrence Press, and Pinata Theory, which is out next month, just in September, also from Black Lawrence Press, so pre-order your copies today. Alan's also written a collection of poems with illustrator Matt Mitchell called Mid-90s Kamikaze about former NBA All-Star Sean Kemp. And proceeds from the sale of that book are going to support NBA arena workers during the COVID-19 shutdown. And if you want copies of that book, you can find Alan on Twitter at Alan_Chazaro. You can spell it, you'll see his name when he starts talking and you can spell it that way. Okay, as I said, Alan has his MFA from this place right here, and he's also a graduate of June Jordan's Poetry for the People program at UC Berkeley. He now lives in Richmond, and he's teaching a poetry workshop for us this fall. And we're very, very happy to have him reading for us tonight. So please join me in welcoming Alan Chazaro.
Cool, thanks everybody. I like seeing the class of 2017 in the house. So thank you, Dave, for organizing and for inviting. Doug, you're the man, you already know it. So yeah, we were asked to read new works in progress. So I kind of followed up on my life dream, I guess. Last year, I quit my job. I was a high school teacher for 9 years. Said, I'm done. This is too much. Not teaching necessarily, but the idea of just the stress in this country was too much. And I felt like I was on the front lines of public education for so long. So I gave myself the space, quit my job with my wife. She was also a teacher. So you can imagine the stress levels in our house of 2 English high school teachers. We both left and we went to live with our families in Mexico for almost a year. And I would have just gotten back, but COVID kind of ended everything. And I say that just to say that it was as amazing as you can probably imagine to disconnect from this country. And I'm lucky enough that my parents are both Mexican and my mom is actually still a Mexican citizen. So I can get citizenship through her. So I was really trying to, I was living with like my mom, my grandpa, and bouncing around all over the country. And I started picking up on a lot of the vibes, I guess, down in Mexico. Some of the darker ones, actually. So what I'm going to read tonight it's still stuff that I'm processing from my trip down there. And it really revolves around the idea of masculinity, particularly like machismo, corruption, narco trafficking. And to me, it all stems from, the fragile male ego of particularly Mexican men that think they have to be a certain type of tough. So yeah, I'm exploring that. So I'll shut up now and read. So this poem is called Chupacabra Ballad. What you'll find beneath dark is more than flesh rot, a gold flash and drip of teeth circling midnights. These fields are open and dry-throated. The wandering bulls haven't been fed. My tío drives me around an avocado orchard in Michoacan, hands me the keys to a gate. He forgets which key opens the muscular lock, but I haven't forgotten about myself. About El Chupacabra, 1995. We've been bleeding out while machos are busy mounting their horses. Their hooves are untamable in the wildest moonlight. I've seen a body tossed on the side of the road. I've seen a trample of fingers and stomachs, the grab of hungry hands. A microphone is turned on so the governor can sing. Tequila is poured before, during, and after. Look, this isn't beauty as defined by the romantics. It's a mirror framed at a dangerous angle. So the working title I have for the collection, well, what I hope could maybe become a collection is called Chupacabra Ballad. And if you remember, the Chupacabra in the 90s was this mythical creature that was going around Mexico eating livestock like cows. Turns out it was a government hoax, which the government admitted, but a lot of people were scared at the time, and it was like this big thing about, you know, kind of destroying the nation, you could say. This next poem is called A Pocho Boys Mixtape. A-side. This midday reposado has me torn and twisted, and listening to mariachis and tlaquepaque is the death I'm asking for. Siempre hay picante aquí, my tío answers to every question. It took me a while to stop asking and start taking. At first, it jarred against my bones. I am no chupacabra, but I've learned every man is capable of eating, even without appetite. Maybe I'm more obsessed with swallowing lies that scrape the floor of our imaginations. Example, I visited the birthplace of Mexican independence in Dolores Hidalgo. I ate a plate of overpriced arrachera in the plaza. A man in a wheelchair asked me for money. His eyes felt empty. His palms held nothing. After, I visited the jail cell where scholars declared Mexico's birth. I don't mean to imply we are still barred from each other, but sometimes these mountains make it difficult to look back. B-side. I'm sitting in a courtyard with Acapulco chairs, flamingo pink, lime green, avoiding April's taxes. I haven't filed for myself in Mexico yet, but back in the States, I know they'll ask for more than my mother's peace. What's the cost of leaving to return to your abuelo's universe? I've walked through minefields while somersaulting with boots, balancing a crown that isn't worth much but weighs more than my California household. Income isn't always incoming for everyone here. Circles don't become trapezoids overnight. They require different angles to be muscled from the promise of each morning's arrival. But who cares about simple geometry when nothing shapes up? My barber at Doberman's tells me about his mother as he fades me out. She's a professional at cleaning up after the dreams of European tourists at a hotel in Colonia Reforma. My fear, being kidnapped and beheaded for the syllables inside my wallet. It's sensationalist, I know, but what's a peso to a dollar? Seaside. I dig through remixed crates of myself, wax pressed into the grooves of forever. Then I spin this for play like the B-side Brujas on East 14th. All night, like Brianna's grandma when she would smoke and hit local clubs on San Pablo to find a Mexican with nice eyes. They come here for work, but we work them for us. It's hard not to romanticize the struggle of certain memories beneath disco lights, between cheap liquor, behind mustaches and Camaros parked in front of the house. Our roof is shingled but falling apart. There are parts of this neighborhood that aren't up to code. We have a shed in the back where Bernardo used to sleep and dreamed of sunflowers scented in lawnmowers gasoline. Don't forget, there are more than two sides to every story, just like there are more than two stories inside every mouth. All right, I'm gonna read one more. It's a little bit shorter, but I just like this poem because it was fun to write. This one's called Mountain Ghost Town in Real de Catorce, where bandits once robbed Spanish conquistadores for gold at 2 a.m. This isn't your smoky, upbeat taberna. It's chicken's feet hanging from the roof of tomorrow morning's market, fresh meat for your mouth's feeding. I met a traveler here who romanticized about Hemingway. He told me he would become the next great US novelist, making declarations like, Frida Kahlo was a capitalist sellout. Forget him. I'm taking back the Mexico that left me when I was born in California. Pause. California was taken from Mexico before I was taken from my mother's hips. Pregunta. What's birth if not a history of screaming? I've met men like him before who think they own the language of the night. Pretentious, my wife calls it. Meanwhile, our nerves are being split for other truths to unfold. For some, drinking mezcal feels like an act of revolution, but that's actually not the truth. The truth is, we're all descendants of our mother's literal pains, and there's nothing we can heal for her. The truth, I'm learning how to ride above this mud we've been slipping in. Thank you.